Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our last Bearbackers of the year. We appreciate all of you coming out each week, and more importantly, we appreciate you supporting our student athletes throughout the year, so thank you all for that. Our biggest supporters are in this room right here. Spring sports are in full swing, as you know, so let's run down this week's schedule. Softball plays at number 6 Arkansas, 6 p.m. tonight. That game is on SEC Plus. Coach Parsons and the team's already on their way to Fayetteville, so she won't be with us here today. Women's golf is in Huntsville, Alabama today and tomorrow. Tuesday, baseball plays at Little Rock, 3 p.m. first pitch at Gary Hogan Field. That's the first of 3 meetings in the Governor's I-40 Showdown this season. One there, one here, and then one at Dickey Stevens in North Little Rock in May. Wednesday, baseball is scheduled to host Missouri State at 4 p.m., weather permitting. Doesn't look real good on the schedule, so we'll keep you updated on that. Friday, baseball opens a 3-game home series with UT Martin at 6 p.m. at Bear Stadium. Softball plays in the Kansas Jayhawk Classic up in Lawrence, Kansas. We play 4 games Friday, Saturday. Take on Stanford in Kansas one day and Stanford in Kansas the next day. So that'll be a tough little schedule there for them. Women's tennis hosts North Alabama at the Conway Tennis Center at 11 a.m. on Friday. Saturday, baseball hosts UT Martin, the second game of the series at 4 p.m. Sunday, baseball finishes the series at 1 p.m. and tennis hosts Jacksonville State at 11 a.m. at the Conway Tennis Center. That's on Sunday. Next week, baseball goes to Arkansas State, another in-state game, and softball hosts Oklahoma State on Wednesday at Ferris Field, so keep those on your schedule. Football spring practice is on us. We're going to have Coach Nate Brown. Where is he? Behind the pillar over here. Oh, there he is. He's in the back. Tell us a little bit about y'all's schedule, if you don't mind.
Yeah, first of all, we're excited to get that going. We start actually today, okay? So we're going to try to get 7 practices in before spring break. Weather permitting. Obviously, I've got some built-in days to adjust it. We're not going to go out there and get washed out. Take advantage of today. If we've got a scheduled practice during a weekday, we'll go from 3:30 to 5:30 on the strike. We're going to be on the strike full time in the spring. So we're excited. We've got 14 newcomers that are practicing for the first time with us today. 12 transfers. As far as the transfers goes, 8 of those are junior college transfers. 4 are transfer portal transfers, and 2 freshmen that enrolled early will be in their first practice today, along with a lot of guys coming back. So we're excited. We plan on this week going today at 3:30, tomorrow at 3:30. Both of those just be helmet days, so not a lot of physicality, but good work out there. And then Thursday and Friday, at the end of the week, we'll put the pads on. So we're excited. And then we'll do a scrimmage on the 16th, which is next Thursday, before spring break. We'll get out there. That'll be practice 7 for us. We'll get out with some reps and kind of see where we're at before we break the spring break. So,
spring game.
April 8th.
April 8th, spring game.
April 8th. So I think we've got softball, baseball that day as well. We'll sandwich in between there somewhere time-wise so everybody can make all the, hopefully it'll be a beautiful day to go watch the Bears. So, thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Nathan. Our track and field indoor teams finished up the ASUN championships at Liberty last week. Our men finished 5th overall. We had 1 gold medal. Our Monte Polk won the 400 meters, ran a 47.6. That's pretty fast. And we had 8 other top 10 finishes, including a 2nd place by Kobe Gill in the 60 and a 2nd place in the 4x400 relay. On the women's side, they finished 6th overall. We had the 60-meter gold medal winner, Kendall McCoy. She ran a 7.54. She was also 4th in the 200 meters, so she did double duty. Had 10 other top 10 finishes. Liberty and Kennesaw State finished 1, 2 in both those divisions. As y'all know, they're both leaving the league, so more power to them. Let's get rid of them because they win a lot of things, unfortunately. Our beach volleyball season's underway. Hadn't been great weather for it, but it is underway. We played at a tournament in Houston to open the season 2 weeks ago, then played at LSU this past weekend. We played 3rd-ranked TCU down in Houston. We played number 19 South Carolina this past weekend, so our schedule's been tough. We're in a tournament at Austin Peay, playing 3 matches in Clarksville, Tennessee this weekend. We are holding a Purple Gray scrimmage on Wednesday, March 22nd at the Beach Bear Courts. That was going to be a tournament, but because of spring break, it didn't actually come about. We'll let Cassidy tell you a little bit more about that and how our season is going so far. Cassidy.
Hi guys. Super excited to be here. This is my first actual press conference-ish. So if I stumble through this, see, that's a little bit why. Yeah. So really happy kind of where we are. 2 weeks ago, really tough schedule, lots of learning opportunities. Really happy where we're matching up. Weather was, like you kind of said, a huge kind of component in that it was hot and 90% humidity. So that was an opponent that we didn't realize that we were going to be playing against. But with that information in practice, kind of had added, we're adding more clothes to practice hot. We're adding a little bit extra conditioning to just kind of work through some of those things. So getting really good information. This past weekend, got our first win. So I got first win against Southeast Louisiana. First career win for me, so it's pretty exciting. So we're going, and this is, from looking at previous seasons, the toughest beginning of the season schedule we've had so far. And we're taking, again, those experiences and really using it for our drive for the next tournament, which not this weekend, but next weekend, over in Clarksville, and we feel good. We feel good about it. Really happy with our top pairs, and everyone's actively pushing. Like you said, we're gonna have a home scrimmage on the 22nd. It is in the middle of the week. It's going to be on a Wednesday, and it will start at 2 o'clock. We're going to do 2 different rounds with 2 matches going per hour. And if you've never been to a beach volleyball event, it is an absolute blast. You can be pretty much all the way up to courtside. You get to mingle with the athletes. Music is going the whole time. I put in the order for good weather, so of course, since I put it in, we're gonna have good weather. But it's this really cool event, and if you've never been to a beach volleyball thing, it's legit. And so looking kind of for next year, trying to have a few more home events where we can bring people in and get that full experience. But yeah, so that's where we are with beach, doing great things. Any questions?
If you've got connections on weather, I'm in construction.
See, the key is it's whenever we actually want to be practicing, it's gonna be horrible weather. That's really what it is. So you have to talk to it beforehand and trick it a little bit. Yeah.
Are there more universities getting into beach volleyball? Is that expanding? Do you see it as, are we a conference sport now in this, or?
Yeah, great questions. Beach is continuing to just absolutely explode. Right now, I think the last stat that I saw is there's 84 Division I programs. Last year, awesome news is the national championships for beach increased to now have 16 teams into the national championships. We are within the ASUN conference. From this year, our conference that has beach, we have 8 teams. So we will be competing within our ASUN championships at the end of April. And we have the opportunity to automatically qualify from our conference. And that's our goal. That's something that we're really pushing, and with that strength of schedule, it's big picture. Right now, our overall record is 1-7. We're not thrilled about that, but because of putting ourselves against really good teams, we know what we need to do, and that's why we're kind of having that push. But yeah, it's continuing to grow. I know that there's been a lot more conversations about adding some allowances within a covered court areas, which would add some northern schools. But it's going. Texas University just opened up their beach, and so I feel that because they decided that they were going to add, of course, other people are going to follow suit, which is great for the sport. And I'm a huge advocate of beach, being that way, and so it's coming along. And the athletes that are coming up next in the year 25 athletes, we're now starting to get our first student athletes who have never touched court. We have sand-only athletes that are coming up in the year 25, meaning the level of beach volleyball is insane and going up. Yep, it's awesome.
So do you start conference play not this weekend, but next weekend at Glasgow?
I'm trying to think. Yes, so that would be considered that. In our conference, it's a little bit different in that we don't have to necessarily play each other. So that's something that is continuing to be talked about, and we're continuing to kind of learn and adapt. But yes, that would be our first actual conference match. And fun fact, we don't actually have to ever play currently anyone within our conference. And so, yeah, until tournament. And so again, those are some things that the coaches are kind of talking about and trying to figure out what that looks like. And again, with the overall championships opening up to now 16 teams, more conferences are looking to add, again, which is absolutely great. And so there's just a lot of movement. We're still young. We're 10 years now as a championship sport, again, which is great. So there's still some learning curves and some growth that's happening, but yeah. Cool. Thanks for your questions, guys.
Thanks for the information. Coach Harlan, anyone you don't want to play in conference? That'd be kind of nice, wouldn't it? Yeah, we don't want to play them this year. No thanks. That'd be a nice little perk, I guess. Our softball Bears played 2 home tournaments the last 2 weekends, as you're probably aware. Hosted 6 games the first weekend. It was supposed to be 9, but due to weather and scheduling conflicts and some other issues, it was only 6. Been 11 this past weekend, so there was a lot of softball going on out at Ferris Field. I want to say hats off to our staff, our media relations crew, our marketing folks, our creative team, our game administrators, E-Rod, for spending their entire weekends out at Ferris Field the last 2 weekends. Made for some really long days. Our softball Bears are 13-5 overall. 2 of the losses are to top 10 LSU. Lost to Louisiana Tech, to South Dakota, and to Iowa. Doesn't get any easier over the next 2 weeks. Played number 6 Arkansas tonight, as I said. Stanford and Kansas twice this weekend, and then number 3 Oklahoma State next Wednesday. So talk about scheduling tough for your RPI or whatever. Softball's doing it. Our pitchers continue to shine. Caleb Beaver has a 1.15 ERA. Jordan Johnson has a 1.55. They've combined for 146 strikeouts so far. Our hitting is still a work in progress, and I think Coach P would tell you the same thing. We're hitting .216 as a team, with four full-time starters hitting under 200. But we're still 13-5, so they're doing something right out there. I don't doubt that offense is going to come around for the opening of ASUN Conference play. That is the weekend of March 18th, 19th. They're at home. We host North Florida in a 3-game series on that Saturday, Sunday. Our baseball Bears had a very interesting weekend at Bear Stadium the past few days. First of all, we took the series from Illinois State 2-1. Won the first game on Saturday's doubleheader, postponed from Friday because of the wet field. We won that one. Lost the second one in 10 innings. Then yesterday we won 22-10, if you can imagine. That's not a football score, that's a baseball score. The Bears entered the weekend on a 4-game losing streak. We lost 4 in a row by a combined 5 runs. 3 one-run losses at Missouri State, and then a 14-inning loss, one of those being a 14-inning loss. Yesterday's game, for those of you that were there or those that listened to Steve-O on the radio, was about as wild as I've seen. And I've seen a lot of baseball games, lots of baseball games. Illinois State scored 6 runs in the top of the first. We walked a few people, back-to-back people. We go in order in the bottom of the first, so you're thinking, down 6-0, we went in order. Didn't look good. You're thinking this is going to be a long day. We come back and score 8 in the second inning, and over the next 4 innings, we outscore them 17-1. The next 4 innings. Thanks in part to a grand slam by our guest here today, Kobe Johnson. Yeah. By the way, he also had the walk-off home run in the Saturday's 4-3 win in the 9th inning. For the weekend, Kobe hit .417, 2 home runs and a double, slugging percentage of 1,000, which we won't talk about, Coach. We won't make you explain the slugging percentage again. Anyway, slugged 1,000, which is pretty amazing, and had an on-base percentage of 563. All those numbers are very good. We'll just leave it at that. How about that? He also started that whole rally yesterday, caught a fly ball in right field for the second out, threw a guy out at the plate for a double play. It's a weird F9-2 double play. You don't see it very often, but it was a unique double play for sure. And by the way, KJ is the epitome of a student athlete. He's already got his degree in finance. He's working on his master's in data analytics. I'm not even sure what that is, but he's getting a master's in it. Sounds very impressive. He has played in 173 games at UCA with 154 starts. Both of those numbers rank in the top 15 in school history, and he has 40 or so games remaining this year, so he's going to be in the top 5 or 6 before he's done. Also in yesterday's game, we had 5 home runs. Every starter had at least 1 hit. Every starter scored at least 1 run. When you have 22, it's going to work that way. Just a crazy, crazy day at the ballpark. And so now we got at Little Rock tomorrow at 3 o'clock, at home Wednesday, hopefully, with Missouri State at 4 o'clock, and then a 3-game series this weekend with UT Martin at home, and then conference right around the corner. Now to give us his thoughts about the weekend and his thoughts on Kobe Johnson, Nick Harlan.
All right, we've gone over this, but any questions about statistics, it's going straight to KJ. All right, not to me. Okay. Hey, congratulations, Coach, on the victory. Your optimism and just enthusiasm, it's contagious. So that's good stuff. One thing that I love about UCA is you listen to our football coach, okay? And what did he say? He said spring game is on April 8th. And he said it's going to be a good day for the Bears. Okay, listen, I pay attention to those things. Okay, it's not just about football for him, it's about the Bears. And I think that's one thing that's really unique, all right, to our football coach, but also to just coaches in general here. Okay, we care about UCA athletics, and I think that's a very unique and special place. So, I appreciate that. But thanks for being here. I'm grateful to be here again. I really enjoy Mondays and coming and visiting with you all. Time is valuable, and I think in my opinion, one of the greatest gifts that we can give someone is time. And we all fall short. I'm no exception to that. I catch myself in a conversation with someone and thinking about something else, or maybe I don't call back home to my folks enough, or whatever it is that it's just something, it's a discipline that we all have to work on. And our team has done that really well. I mean, they use their time wisely. They're not held captive by losses. They responded really well to a tough weekend last weekend. And they came back to practice, and I thought we prepared really well for this week. Outside of 1 inning against Memphis, I thought we won the game. I mean, we won, 3 out of 9 innings and played really well. And then we prepared well the next 2 or 3 days. We're very intentional about what we were trying to correct. We did that, and then we came into the weekend and played really well. I thought we got good pitching. I was very proud of our freshman arms that played and pitched. I thought Lucas Greer did a nice job in game 1. Kind of set the tone there, followed up by Tate Busey, and just pitched extremely well. And then Jesse Barker got us off to a good start in game 2. Did a good job there, and outside of a couple of mistakes, we have a chance to win that game. And then in game 3, it was a tough start, and everybody saw that. And I think, I told my wife this, and I told the players that, maybe 10, 15 years ago, your anger takes over when things aren't going your way in that moment. But I think as you gain perspective and you get a little bit older, your concern is more about the player. I mean, that's a tough moment, and you want to help them navigate through that moment and try to help them kind of get through it and recover well. And there's no doubt that our players understand that, and he will, and our players did. Our players picked him up. I mean, if you look back at the game, in the first inning we had 3 hard hit balls, and I knew that we were seeing the ball well. Then in that second inning, we just had quality at bats, one after another. I think if you look back at my card, maybe 9 out of the first 11 ABs were quality at bats. Quality at bat was a productive at bat. Didn't necessarily result in a hit, but it was a tough at bat, productive, moved a runner, fought some pitches off, scored a run in some way, got on base in some way. And we did that, and I knew it was only a matter of time. I didn't realize it was going to come so soon. In that second inning, we got off to a good start, got some runners on base, and kind of set the table for Colby, who's going to talk here soon. But set the table for him, and he got a good pitch to hit and got a good swing off and hit the ball out of the yard, and kind of got us back on track. But I knew it was going to be a really offensive day, and it was. And so we needed to go to a guy that could keep the ball down and get us some ground balls. And so we put a freshman, Charlie Christensen, in, and Charlie did a really good job of just attacking the strike zone, down in the zone, getting some ground balls, and kind of helped us stay in the game and let our offense work. But just really, really proud of the team and the way they handled that. And I guess proud's not even the best way to describe it. For me, I'm just very grateful that I get to be around a group of guys that operates in that manner. They don't play the scoreboard, they play the game of baseball. And there's a consistency to their approach that takes a lot of discipline. And so, I challenged them before the weekend. I said, guys, look, let's play like kids. All right, let's play like kids. You go out, you have fun, you play with freedom, you play with aggressiveness, but let's have the discipline of a grown man, okay? Discipline in how you go about your approach, discipline in how you manage your emotions, discipline in how you stay focused in the moment, because all those things take a tremendous amount of discipline. And typically, the team that can do that more consistently is going to put themselves in a position to win. And our team does that consistently. So whether we're down or whether we're up, we're going to continue to at least strive to be disciplined and have good at-bats and make good pitches, and they did that. So I was just really, really pleased with them. And at the end of the day, you look back, and I think, 30, I counted, I may be wrong, but 33 out of 40-some at-bats were quality at-bats. So I just thought that was, it's hard to sustain that on any day. But when you're up by 10 runs, it's very difficult. So I think that's just a credit to the team and how disciplined they truly are. So I just really appreciate that. And speaking of that, one thing I complimented Colby about as we were sitting here and sharing a meal and talking a little bit was his maturity and just the way his approach has evolved from the day he got here until now. And Colby's been with us 5 years. And he's just matured and he's grown in a lot of ways, and it's really showing up on the field. But quick story about Colby before I bring him up. I'll kind of go back through the recruiting process. I remember one weekend I went to Joplin, and there was a tournament in Joplin. And, most of the time when you recruit, you go into the game and you kind of have an idea of who you're going to watch. Well, this particular game, I didn't really have an idea of who I was going to see. I just wanted to kind of go into it and just keep my eyes open and see if anybody popped out. And sure enough, I'm watching, and this kid's out there, and he's taking good hacks, and he's playing with energy, and he's talking to his teammates, and he's just full of joy, full of energy and enthusiasm, and he gets on base, and he's causing havoc. He slides into second base hard, and there's a collision, and he pops up, and he looks for the baseball, and he runs to third base, and he's just causing chaos. And I thought, man, this kid is really exciting. He's fun to watch. And so I kind of locked in on him and was really impressed. Well, I went home and I had to make a decision on him. And I thought, man, I'm not sure yet. I need to see him more. I was one day. And so I had a small window before I had to make a decision. And he was playing down in Franklin, Texas. And I had a Saturday to drive down to Franklin. So I got up in the morning and drove down to Franklin, Texas. I think it was about a 10-hour drive. And drove down. I got into Franklin, and it's this big tournament. I'm walking into the complex, and I run into an old scout buddy, and he says, "Hey, Coach, there's a kid you need to see while you're here." I said, "Okay." I said, "Who is it?" And you got to remember, I mean, there's several teams playing in this tournament. I said, "Okay, who is it?" He said, "Well, he's on this Texas team, and his name's Colby Johnson." And I said, "Okay," out of all people. So I walk in, and I go straight over to watch, and sure enough, it's the same kid that I saw the weekend before, playing with the same passion and enthusiasm, the same skill set. And so when I left that day, I said, that's our guy. So really thankful that Colby chose us. He could choose a lot of different schools, but he decided to trust us and put his faith in us as coaches. And I'm so thankful for that and the relationship that we've developed. And I just want to invite Colby up and just share a few things about himself, where he's from, and maybe a few thoughts about UCA. So come on up, Colby.
How's everyone doing today? As I mentioned, my name is Colby Johnson. This is my 5th year here at UCA. I was blessed to get an extra year because of COVID. And I graduated in 3 years with my major in finance, minor in accounting. And I'm planning on graduating in the spring with my master's in business administration and data analytics. And I've been so blessed in my time here at UCA. And talking about the recruiting process, I mean, a lot of people in this room are familiar with it. Those who aren't, it's a lot of uncertainty. And for me, especially being an undersized kid, it was a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of schools that were interested in me, but were hesitant to take that extra step of offering me because of my size. And with UCA, I just felt like they were always certain of who I was as a player, and that I came here on a visit, and I saw the community, I saw the city of Conway, and I was like, I just feel like this is where I'm supposed to be, committed on my visit, and I was like, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. And as I've been here, they've put so much time and effort into me, and I really appreciate that. And as Coach mentioned, I got to play a lot as a freshman, but the guy who I am now compared to then is completely different. Just my maturity and how I've evolved in all aspects of life. As a man, as a baseball player, I owe a lot to the coaching staff here, Coach Gum, Coach Harlan, and just all the effort they put into me. And one big thing that I've learned here, kind of in my word of the year so far, has been stewardship. And just God has blessed me with this talent and ability, and all I want to do is become the best version of myself. And that perspective, just putting everything that I do on a daily basis, because a lot of times you can't control the results. You can just control the process. So I'm really process-driven, process-oriented. And this weekend I had a great weekend, but I mean, honestly, all the fun is in the process. I go out there and practice, I'm having the time of my life, and I gotta say, this is probably the most fun I've ever had on a baseball field, just because I'm focusing on that. I mean, a lot of people, especially in baseball, it's a very stat-driven sport. A lot of guys can get caught up in their batting average, how many strikeouts they have or whatever. But I don't think that's the way the game's intended to be played. I grew up in a subdivision, and there is a huge Little League, Pearland Little League, right nested in the middle of it. And you go out there and you watch the kids on the t-ball field, and they're not concerned about how many hits they have or anything like that. They're just running out there, getting dirty, and having fun. And that's just been the way I've been trying to play this year, and it's made a difference. Hopefully we can get some wins coming up, because I like to win too, but I'm just having fun with it. Is there any questions?
Academically, you have some of the hardest degrees to get at UCA. You have a lot of baseball games when you're on the road. How do you handle, you're doing a major college academic end along with the major college baseball. A lot of people who only play baseball can't get through what you've done academically.
Oh yeah, I gotta credit that to my parenting. That has always been the initial thing, was school first and then athletics second. And especially with baseball not being a full scholarship sport, academics was really a priority growing up, and I wanted to be able to get an academic scholarship as well as an athletic scholarship. So that was kind of been the focus, and it carried on through college, and just, making that a priority and getting my schoolwork done first so I can just focus on the game has probably been what's helped me with that.
I didn't mention this, but I'm pretty sure it's a 4.0.
Yeah. But anything else?
Did you know both home runs were gone when you hit them this weekend or not?
Well, I mean, the one on the walk-off, I was kind of caught up in the moment. I was just trying to hit a line drive, just keep the inning extended. And I hit in the air, I was like, wait. That might have a shot. And then I was getting up to first base, I was like, oh my gosh, that's gone. And I never hit a walk-off home run in my life, so that was just like an incredible experience for me.
Toby, how tough is it out in right field about 5 o'clock in the afternoon?
Man, that sun, I feel like its main purpose is just to get me hit in the face with a fly ball. Like, I see it, I'm like, all right, the game starts, it's a beautiful day, and then right around the third inning, you see the sun just like creeping right in my eyes, and I'm like, please don't hit any balls to me this inning, because it will be a circus out here.
Do you like hitting the home run or throwing the guy at the plate, which is best?
I mean, home run's got to be one of the best feeling in sports, but coming in the outfield and you kind of have a feeling that a guy's going to run on you, you're like, don't do it, and then he does it and you get that throw off, that's got to be up there as well. Anything else?
Great job. Yep. Hey, very, very thankful Colby is in the program. And I think, one thing I will say is, it's fun to, it's a lot of fun to walk off and win those games. But, as and especially as a father, having this perspective, to watch the players execute under pressure when people are expecting them to perform, it's a great feeling because there's going to be times in life outside of baseball when people are going to depend on Colby, and he's going to have the confidence to know that he can execute in those situations, whether it's being a father or a husband or whatever it is in his community. And man, that's so fun to watch them celebrate those moments, because I know that with every one of those moments, they're gaining more confidence in themselves. And there's nothing more that I want for them to leave the program more confident than when they came. So man, it was a blast watching you play. So thankful for that. But any questions for me as we move forward? Okay, thank you very much.
Hello. Hello. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Colby, if we had more like you, we'd bring them in every time. You, in 5 years, a 4.0 and an MBA. Pretty good. Pretty good. I'm glad Nick tricked you into coming here. Good job. All right, so a couple things. Thursday is the day of giving, March 9th. So just be mindful of that. You'll see a lot about it prior to and the day of. So you may even get a call from us as well. I'm sure Matt Whiting, correct? So just be on the lookout for that. We'll be coming at you. And then women's basketball search we're right in the middle of it. We have 5 interviews this week, and the plan is to have a decision by the end of the week. The portal opens on Sunday, March 12th. So we think it's important that we have a coach ready for that to happen, because we need a lot of new student athletes. So that's our goal. We hope it works out. We'll see what happens. And the last thing I want to talk about is Anthony Boone. And Anthony is here today, and we're going to let him come on up. Probably no one knows the extent of what he's gone through since the 1st of January. It's hard to even explain the seriousness of this medical condition. So here I am for a couple months wondering what his future would be. What does he want to do? What can he do? And we met, about 10 days ago, and he made it real clear that he wants to be our head coach. into our future, and he is good to go, and the doctors have cleared him, and we're thrilled that Anthony's going to be our head coach. So maybe talk about current players next year, what you're looking at.
Okay, yes, thank you. And I am glad, very fortunate to be here, and very thankful. I very well could not be here, but I am, and I'm very thankful for that, and thankful for the opportunity to continue, because that was a driving force in me getting better. I don't think I talked to you about this, Dr. Teague, but as I went through, I had a couple of surgeries and I was in the ICU, and there were a few things that drove me to make it through that, which the surgeries were hard. The condition I had was life-threatening. The surgeries themselves were life-threatening, and the stay in the ICU was torturous. But I thought about my wife, my kids, and the team here. And I really, I had a very strong desire to get back to them. And that's what drove me. But here I am, and I'm good to go. I'm ready to go. We have a pretty good group coming back. We did lose Eddie Kaiulud, and he'll be heavily missed on the court, off the court. Everything Eddie does is a joy. He's a joy to be around, and we will miss him a great deal. Because of that, with recruiting, we're looking for some more size, and we're on the trail for a couple guys with size. We did sign one young man out of Bentonville West in the early signing period, a 6'8" guy that shoots the ball very well, which is something that we certainly can use. And we will be looking for some size that comes along with a little experience also to replace Eddie. Some size that can rebound, and maybe a guy that can score a little bit too. But all the other guys we have coming back, we think are a pretty good core for doing well in the ASUN. Of course, Cam Hunter was last year was freshman of the year. This year he was all conference, led us in scoring, led us in assists, and he's on pace to be. I think if he continues with what he's done, which we'll see how that goes, but I think he's on pace to be second or third in all-time scoring and about the same in all-time assists. I'm not sure. Steve is the one that knows all the stats. Yes, he has them all in his head.
I don't think I do, yeah.
And we have a good group of guys who are pretty experienced. We still have a good group of guys who are pretty young coming back also, with lots of energy. We have a good group of very versatile guys that we think will be able to compete very well in the ASUN. And speaking of those guys, the staff and the players went through a very difficult and I think impossible situation this year, with all of it happening actually the day of a game. And I think they handled themselves very well. The staff handled it well. The guys handled it well. They carried themselves very well, and they were great representatives of our team, of this university, and of this community. And I was very proud of them whenever I got a chance to finally catch up and watch them on TV and see how things were going, and got to visit with them. They carried on very well in, again, a very difficult and nearly impossible situation. They did. it was a very difficult season for them, and one that started off pretty good. We had some pretty good wins early on. We knocked off a couple of in-state schools that were, traditionally thought of as being better than us. We had some good wins. We had some good competition where we did well and didn't win, but we also had some good wins, and it looked promising. But we think that we can come back next year with this group and have a really, really competitive season in the ASUN. And I'm just glad for the opportunity to come back with these guys, with this staff, with this administration, and continue to represent this university and this community in the position of being the head coach for men's basketball. And I thank you guys for your support, for all the well wishes, for all the thoughts and all the prayers. They were very much needed, and even more so appreciated by me and my family. You all don't understand the impact that had on us and on my my recovery. That was very important, and I thank you all so much for all of your support. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you. That's it for today, and guess what? That's it for the year. This is our last Bearbackers.
Mickey Prince doesn't look it, but he's a year older today.
Mickey Prince, happy birthday, Mickey. You don't look a year older. That's right. That's exactly right. Happy birthday, Mick. Matt.
Joe just brought up a great point. Friday at 1 p.m. there will be a Day of Giving celebration, announcing the total and all that.
Friday at 1 at Buffalo?
At Buffalo.
Okay.
That's right.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'd love to see everybody there. Yeah, thanks, Joe. What else? What are we missing? Huff, you all right over there sitting by yourself? I mean, I walked in, he's by himself. Nobody wants to sit by him, so I sat by him. Randy, glad you're in town. Glad you're here. Thank you. Anything else? Ron.
Johnson hopes to get a shot Monday. In case you didn't know, Bill has been in tremendous pain.
Yeah. Hip pain.
Off of blood thinners and hopes to get a shot in his back to ease it up Monday. So we can still use your prayer.
Bill Johnson. Yes, sir. In our prayers. Thank you. The reminder. What else? All right. Have a good week. Go Bears. Go Sugar Bears. Bear claws up.